I'm joined as ever by Adam from Plugged In. Hello, Adam of Plugged In fame.
Hello, Andy of Pure 24/7 fame.
Right now, we talk about all sorts of review stuff from movies to YouTube channels and videos, books, games, everything.
Yep.
And I've really enjoyed this little miniature series that we've been doing
Yeah.
on essentially the reason why we have this conversation and the reason why Plugged In exists.
Yes. Yeah. And the reason plugged in exists, I would say, is twofold or maybe threefold. The pain point, the problem that we are solving for is the fact that our culture is swimming in entertainment, in ideas, in worldviews, and we want to make sure you have the information you need to make a decision that lines up with your family's convictions on all of that stuff. So I mean, I think that's what most people use us for. But our hope is that as you interact with us over time, that it will become apparent to you that we're trying to think about all of that stuff in the movies and entertainment on our screens from a biblical point of view. And really, the word that we use is discernment. And hopefully, as you interact with us, maybe you're prompted to think, oh, I never really thought about that before. I never thought about how my faith might, be in play here, or my kids, how something might be influencing them. And I think that's maybe the bottom line is we want to help your kids to grow spiritually, but also for you to have a great relationship with them, because this can be a huge point of contention. And sometimes as parents, we have to do the parent thing. We have to say, no, this is not appropriate. It's not going to be good. And our kids may be frustrated or disappointed or angry. Um, but other times, I think maybe there's more space than we realize to look for that common ground and to say, okay, can we navigate this? Can we talk about it? Can we build a relationship while at the same time learning something together in conversation and thinking critically and biblically? So I hope that Plugged In is a catalyst for all of those things in our reviews and our videos and all the various things that we publish.
And for me personally, I just like the idea that we can be appropriately and generally informed in order to make our own decisions. And
Yeah,
that over the years, I mean, we've been using Plugged In easily a decade at this point. But the thing I've always enjoyed is you don't say what's right and wrong that I should think. You just say, look, this is what you need to consider. This is what
yeah.
you need to think about. And then we have the option to not feel guilty or liberated to make a silly decision, but actually to make an informed one.
Yeah, we don't want to pile on and our goal is not to make people feel bad. Now, that said, we have gotten a few angry letters from teens over the years saying that, we wrecked their lives. I'm like, all right, I get that. But the funny thing is how the teens whose lives we've wrecked, we've now been around long enough to go another generation. And many of them now write us as either young adults who are thinking for themselves or even as young parents and saying, you know what? I hated this when I was growing up and my parents made me say, go to plugged in, but now I get it. And that's the nature of growing in maturity and wisdom too, is sometimes it really does take time for us to recognize, oh, this is a real issue and we really need to deal with it.
And I guess the flip side of that particular coin is when you're 15 thinking, I want to watch this, why can't I do that?
Yeah,
And your parent comes along and says, well, actually, no, that's not a good idea. When you're a parent, you're not just thinking about yourself, actually, you're thinking about others, not more
right.
than a teenager. That would be an unfair and oversimplification of what I'm trying to say. But I think
Sure.
there is a different weight of responsibility when you're the one that people are looking to, especially if it goes wrong.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think that most of us who have gone through the journey from angry know-it-all teen to beginning to become a little bit more self-aware young adult to being a parent to being a parent of teens, like there are three or four pretty distinct stages there. And I think like 18, 19 is sort of the peak of teenagers thinking, you're a bloomin' idiot, right? Yeah, as a parent, you don't know anything. And I think I hit my peak know-it-allness in life at about 21 or 22. And ever since then, it's just a gradual trip down the mountain on the other side of, wow, there's so much I don't know. And so many reasons why actually my parents were way smarter than I thought they were, but it just takes time for all of us to realize that.
The thing about life is the longer we live it, the more we realize how much we don't know, and the more we realize things like resources like Plugged In, that they're
Yeah,
really invaluable, because I can't watch every film, read every book, look at every
right.
TV channel, and make a sensible decision for my own children. I mean, they're a bit more older now, but I
Yeah.
still look out for them, and I can't do it all and do the cooking and the cleaning and go to work.
Right.
And so you're like a helpful friend that can just whisper into our ear things that we kind of need to know.
Well, and even compared to where we were when I started, well, I was briefly with Plugged In 1996 and 97, but I've been back since 2004. So I've got like 22 years combined. But we live in a different world than we lived in even in 2010. Some of us remember Netflix was, I got a DVD in the mail, right? But now we have all of these streaming services. There's just so much content that for us as parents to try to sort through it all, there's not enough time. And that's why we're here too.
Amen to that. And with that in mind, where would you like to take us for review stuff this evening?
Well, there's some interesting things out this week. Did we talk about Sketch last week? Honestly, I can't remember. And I jumped the gun on at least one of my interviews on that.
I have no idea. We may well have done. I
I don't
have
think we
had a long
did.
week.
So we've got a couple movies that are out this week, but one of them is called Sketch. And Sketch is about a little 10-year-old girl whose mom has died. She is trying to process her grief by drawing angry monsters, stomping on people, and basically doing mean things. And, from a psychological perspective, a good counselor would say she's just working it out. But the problem is those drawings fall into a magical pond and come to life. And so then they have to battle the monsters. And it's actually a really fun and nice little movie with the caveat that a couple of those monsters are going to be pretty scary for littles. So it's not a movie for young children, I would say, at all. But for tweens on up, I think you could have fun watching that one. And again, it is called Sketch.
It's funny how they fell into the right lake at the right time.
I know, right?
How did that happen? It's
It's
like
like
it's
I'm
a
I'm taken back to um I'm taken back to the quest for the Holy Grail, Monty Python. Look, watery nymphs distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
yes, indeed. Right. Where else can we go for some more reviews?
You can come to pluggedin.com. We've got Freakier Friday up this week. We've got some great blogs. We have a new parental control video that you can check out. I think we're looking at Amazon Prime, if I'm remembering correctly. So lots to come and check out this week.
Cool. Adam, as always, thank you. It's a pleasure. And the bit I like is we're not just, I mean, this is the thing. It's not just movie reviews, but books, games, CDs, everything. And
Yep,
also, we're reviewing the whole thing of why there is reviewing, which I absolutely
exactly.
adore. Adam,
Exactly.
pluggedin.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Talk to you next week.